Like, I give you 1 hour. I don't hold my time up.
Oh man, here we go. Yo, so I just want to point out this is therapy for us all. Like week in, week out. We look forward to it. Listen,
Fellas,
it's
it's
just
gonna be one of them nights.
it's gonna be. I'm telling you. What's up, fellas? Another Tuesday night at 9, man. Welcome back, Prototype Dan in the building.
Yo.
Man, I know some of us is running on fumes, man. But that was the end. That closed my year, yo. That's the last trip. I'm not going nowhere else. Staying local.
Yo, financially, physically, mentally, I'm drained.
Yeah. Truth, dog.
Yo,
I don't got nothing left. I don't got
I
nothing
think
left.
that's it. I think that was it for me too, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's fourth quarter, man. Trying to recoup.
We fought even to get to that. You know what I'm saying? Because Talon was. How you feeling after Talon, Leafer? Are you back
I'm
normal?
just starting to get my sea legs back, man. I've been jet lagged in the mug, man. So I'm just starting to feel a little normal. But yeah, I'm getting back to it.
Okay, man. Y'all seen the thumbnail, man. Tonight we're gonna get into a little bit about marriage, divorce, singleness. What's the best of it all? You know what I'm saying? And just get a world our perspective, man, and so we can get back to the youngsters out there. You know what I'm saying? Man. So everybody, just get a perspective, man. First question: what's the difference between married, being single, and divorce? Like, if you could pick out one thing, what would you pick? Go ahead, Leifer.
I don't know why I always end up on this corner of you. uh, um, I think from my perspective, we'll just go with single. Single is it's more like the freedom to be able to kind of make your own decisions when you get up and go. You know what I mean? Who you want to spend your time with. Where you want to spend your time. Uh, you know what I mean? And you're only single with no kids. We'll say that. Your only responsibility is you, and all you really have to worry about is getting you up in the morning, and you know what I mean. Coming home, you ain't got to worry about what time you coming home. You could just kind of focus on you. Married, there's another individual involved. So now, you know what I mean. There's probably more communication, more conversations about just boundaries, goals, where you see your life going in certain amount of years or whatever, and there's a mutual type of respect where you kind of got you know what you can and cannot do, or what you should and should not do based on the values that you guys have set in your marriage. And then divorce is just kind of reclaiming that reclaiming yourself. You know what I mean? When if you're in a bad marriage, or if you're or maybe it just didn't work out, and you're kind of reclaiming yourself, figuring out who you are in this state in your life, and just trying to figure out how to move forward with this person that you are now, given that all this time that you spent with this person and these years kind of have now subsided, and now you have to kind of move forward in this new light. So I think those different things, they're different phases of you in your life. You know what I mean? So it's just different. It's a different, I guess, different thought process on how you might move or how you might view things.
Go ahead, Mo.
So for sure, man, this is a very interesting topic, man. We gonna get into this tonight, man. I'm on one, so I ain't bring out no bourbon, but I'm sipping on something, man. It's gonna be a good one. Um, so so married, I would say it's tethered. And I'm not saying that to sound bad, but man, I'm a very focused and driven person individually. So sometimes, man, that whole married part, man, it feels like you're dragging something along. I mean, so good, bad, take that how you will. Single, at least from when you're before you're married, it's I would say it's freedom. You're just doing whatever you want to do when you want to do it, with really no regard for anybody else, and that's dope. But it gets old. But and then so divorce is what I would say is like freedom on steroids. Like yo, I enjoy watching this whole run of hit, like because I've been there. Like I'm like I got I know. I find it funny seeing how tired he is. Like I'm like I know, but I mean all of them, all of them are what you make of them. But with that being said, though, man, I wouldn't take any of them back, because I'm glad where I am in life right now. But hey, it is what it is, man. But just make the best out of every phase of your life.
Go ahead.
Yo, so I mean, I've been through all three, right? And I'm not a proponent either or none of them, because I think honestly, I think ultimately we're here for that companionship, right? I think that's the ultimate level of when you reach a certain level of companionship. That's when you like reach a certain point in life, like a certain level of life. You know what I'm saying? Like a certain level of love. You know what I mean? You and this person. You know what I mean? Being able to share thoughts and like I think it's a beautiful thing if you got the right person in the situation. So I think each each of them, right, has their own level. Like I think with being single, how it should be done, it should be prepping you right for marriage. It should be you having that time to learn yourself, right, to know what you want, to understand, you know what I'm saying? Like Mo said, your goals and the things that you're working on accomplish individually. You know what I mean? You should be prepping yourself to get ready to make that transition into a companionship with somebody. So like you're not taken away from yourself and you're not taken away from them also, because they're doing the same thing. They bringing it together. So when y'all do come together, then y'all create that synergy and y'all get to run with it, and y'all, you know what I'm saying, y'all living. And I don't think people do that all the time. I think most people are single and they just always hunting and looking, like trying to figure out who it is going to be, and they're not taking that time to pour into themselves, and they're looking at for somebody to pour into them. And then thing somebody's running on empty, and then you get to the divorce stage. So, you know what I mean? If I break it down like that, I think, you know what I'm saying, boom, single is that should be all preparation. That's the all season. You know what I'm saying? And then when you get married, it should be y'all both taking that single life and, you know what I'm saying, merging it and coming together and making something huge, right? Bringing something to the table. Both of y'all bringing something. But with divorce, like my man said, dog, that could be getting your emancipation papers, man. You know what I mean? Like, but that's you being able to go back to that draw. Listen, you see a lot of dudes end up with like worse than what they had, you know what I'm saying, or end up in real bad situations after they got divorced, is because they didn't take the opportunity when they got back single to start pouring back into themselves and start working back into themselves. I think that single phase is the most important phase if you want to be successful in every other.
So Vic, before you go, I'm gonna push back a little bit, man. I don't agree that the single phase is to prepare you for your mate. Now I'm a little different. That I don't believe in the one. I don't believe in that. I believe in compatibility just makes more or less work, to make that relationship work. But I don't believe that. I just think you need to really go on your purpose. And once you get to a good stopping point to where you're satisfied with yourself, I remember I used to always say that, like, hey, self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. Another person shouldn't dictate how where that comes. But man, I just think that that as a single person, you should be driving on your purpose and not necessarily for somebody else. Do it for yourself. And then once you get to a certain level of attainment, a certain level of achievement, then you can focus on other people. Because if you're unfulfilled individually, collectively, it's not going to work.
But why does that be a 2-part phase? Why can't it just be one entire movement? So if I'm on my purpose and I'm living like for that purpose, the person I meet is going to be in that same, right, on that same path. Like I'm gonna meet them
Hopefully.
doing the things that I do, right? I mean, that's
Hopefully.
typically like how it works, right? So I don't. That's the only pushback I would say is that I don't think it's 2 parts. I don't think I get to a certain point and then I go focus on something else. I stay focused on my goal, and this person becomes a part of my life while I'm still living my purpose.
Well, and so I'm agreeing with that part. The part that I had an issue with was that you're preparing for them. No, it's for you to get yourself together. Like I'm singularly focused on me at this point. That would be my suggestion for young folks, man, or young men. Like get yourself where you need to be. And once you're not satisfied, but once you're at a place or you're at least where you should be at that moment on your path, then you can start, looking other places. But until you build yourself into your best self, man, like you're actually not going to have the kind of options that you think you should have if you choose too early.
You're going, yeah. So you're going to lose the options. But by me saying like, I'm preparing myself for the woman I want. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm not waiting for a particular person, but I'm going to put my best self together. So when I make that presentation, they see the best of me. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean about I'm prepping, right? I'm prepping for this person that, you know what I mean? That as the individual, but I want them to see the best portion, the best part of me. Is it physically, me best financially, me best in my mental space. I want them to get the best, you know what I'm saying? The best version of me so I can get that upper echelon, right? You know what I'm saying? That what I really want, not what I'm selling for.
Facts. Okay.
I got a clip for that too, for that statement you just made. But for me, I feel like for me it's like loneliness. There's a difference between being married, divorced, and single. Like I'm the type of person where I need energy around me. I need people. I know a lot of people don't necessarily need other people in their lives or around, but I just need constant interaction with people, man. I just can't. I don't know. I just like what I mean, because even if I am at home by myself, I'm leaving. Like what I'm saying, I'm running around in the streets until I'm tired. Because if there's nobody at the crib to even go back home to, like I'm be like, why am I there? You know what I'm saying? So I kind of need that, need somebody at the crib just to even come home. You know what I'm saying? So that will be my difference between being married, single, divorced, or whatever. I will always need somebody to be home. You know what I mean? To go into the next question, man. How much weight does your woman hold on your failure or success? Lee, you right there, so you already know the rotation.
Yeah, I know. I say if you're running your ship the way you're supposed to be running your ship, the success and failure of the relationship, in my opinion, hinges on you. And maybe part of it is on the woman, but I think if you're being who you need to be, you know what I mean, and who you said you are, and you're leading your household, and you know your woman better than anybody else, typically. So if you're doing what you need to be doing, to maintain a relationship, then if it ends up going wrong or things end up going the wrong way, typically I tend to think that falls on the man. You know what I mean? Because how I always look at it is, if we can control ourselves in the situation, then we can typically control the situation. And I think a lot of times that's where the situations go awry. Again, in my opinion, is when you overreact or you underreact or you know what I mean. Just you're standing outside of yourself in those situations. So I feel like if you can control you can control the situation in most situations. So I feel like a lot of that falls on the man.
Man, listen. It plays a big part, a huge part. So now, if you do it the way that I suggested is by waiting until you're already quote unquote a success, at least in your eyes. It's a whole lot less. It's a whole lot less of a detriment or an anchor. But if you do it too early, man, it can totally change your. Like I literally tell my daughter this. I'm like, you have a kid too early, it can ruin your life. So no, man, who you tie yourself to can totally derail your entire life. Now, granted, I mean, obviously, you do have a certain level of, well, you have all the responsibility of what you're going to do in life and where you're going to go, but you can make things much harder for yourself by tethering yourself to the wrong person.
Hold on, let me run that back because I was reading into the question as failure or success of the relationship, not failure or success of your life. So if we talk about failure or success of your life, how much does your woman hold in the failure or the success of your life? Then my answer is completely different. So I think that having the right person next to you, the right person supporting you, the right person in your life is paramount to your success. You know what I mean? And because two heads are always better than one. And if you have somebody pushing you up, supporting you, in your goals and in your visions, believing in you, speaking life into you, it changes the whole game. So my bad. I was reading the question wrong at the bottom of the screen, so I got it all mixed up. But yeah, I think it's highly important.
So me. So look, all right. I think 0%, right? And I say that because a driven man is a driven man. Like you're going to get it no matter what. I think with being with the wrong person, man or woman, I think it increases the level of difficulty of being successful. You know what I mean? So instead of the road or the path being a little easier, it may be a lot harder. You know what I'm saying, to get where you're gonna go. But if you are working on yourself already and you already have that momentum going, you're gonna get there. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it may just increase the level of difficulty. And I say it because it's a couple of things, right? If you look at like on a mental level, you guys are sharing energies, right? And even like, you guys are having sex, y'all sharing DNA. You know what I mean? A lot of what they thinking and who they are, you know what I mean, it's gonna be a part of you. But it also works the other way. You can become a part of her. You know what I'm saying? But you just have to be that driven. Because I think like you guys said all the time, a woman that wants you, right, or wants to be with you is going to change for you, right? And especially a woman always respects a man they can learn from, and somebody who can push them to be like, you know what I'm saying, more to themselves. So I think a lot of times what happens is when we reach that level of difficulty, you know what I mean, we kind of give up. You know what I'm saying? And we give up, we kind of like lose focus, and then they don't have nowhere to go. Like we stop driving them. We stop being that leader. We stop being that teacher. You know what I'm saying? Because we get frustrated. And then I think that's what contributes to, I mean, the difficulty in the relationship of being successful. So I think that's it all on the man. I don't think the woman has, you know what I mean? I mean, she can make it a whole lot easier, right? Being like supportive, like Leaf said, speaking of life into you, like going to find different avenues for y'all to be successful. You know what I mean? Or she could just sit down and make it really hard to succeed. You just got to work around her. You know what I mean? But ultimately, I think it falls on the man.
I think ideally we would love for the success that like I would love for a woman to really like push into me, you know what I'm saying? So I can just pause.
Yo, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Like what? Vic Peg, Mr. Peg. Like what?
No,
Yo.
no, no. But I would love for a woman that can really inspire me. I'll say it like that. All right. It's just few and so far between, man. And so they can really hold you back for sure. Picking the wrong woman will have you somewhere in the gutter. You know what I mean? But hey, you're really right on. You need to push forward regardless. You know what I'm saying? But they could definitely hinder you. I would say if I was to really put a weight on it, I would put like I would throw like 40% on it. You know what I'm saying? I think a good woman could, either, get you to a D. I mean, a good woman can get you to 100% functionality, or she could have you out here at a D just getting by. You know what I'm saying? You'll still pass, but you gotta, you know what I mean? You got a D, you know what I'm saying? And somewhere in the middle. But I don't think a man could truly get to 100% efficiency without one. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. But um it's just it's hard to find that one that's going to help you efficiently. You know what I mean? Like I realistic scenarios is really about anywhere between like 70 and 78%. Like, you know what I'm saying? But if you get 82% out of there, you're doing better than most. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show this clip and see what y'all kind of think about it. Can y'all see that?
Don't marry and don't date crazy. The number one influencing factor to a man's success or failure in life is who they choose as a spouse. And if you're one of those guys that like, I'm a Captain Save-A-Ho, don't be a motherfucking Captain Save-A-Ho, because when you get married to this chick and when you try and start a life with her, she's going to constantly be this tornado of problems each time you're trying to do something big, and you're going to realize, I can't start that company, I can't make those millions, I can't transform people's lives, I can't serve humanity, because each time I try, she is taking a massive shit on my life. Find someone that will back you up. Find someone that will say they believe in you. They will advocate for you. And when you do, be so fucking awesome to her that all she wants to do is support you and be your one-woman pit crew. And if you can do that, I'm telling you, man, you will force multiply the impact and income that you will make in life. Don't.
Anybody want to respond to that?
Yo, man, he was spitting facts. I mean, I think he was, it was a bit much, but like it's, eat the meat and spit out the bone type of thing. But I think his message was real though. And I was going to kind of allude to this on the previous question, man. Like, depending on when you make that choice can be so life changing. Like just in my scenario, man, think about like where I went to school. With my actual major ended up becoming, like, I was supposed to be a doctor. Like, literally, I remember in my mind when I went to college, I was going to the league, or my backup plan was to be a doctor. Like, totally, like all that changed. And I'm not saying it was just because of the decision that I chose to, who I chose to be with, but that was a huge thing. And one of the themes that keep coming back from all three of you is that at the end of the day, it lies on the man. Like, it's up to him. Whatever happens is because he didn't do it. So with that being said, while you're still incubating and you're still trying to vet and you're trying to figure your stuff out, man, focus on you, because at the end of the day, they're going to say, well, regardless of what happens, they're going to be like, well, you should have made it work. So, man, that's going to be the theme of the show for me. For the young dudes just trying to, figure it out, man, focus on you early, because you're going to take the blame at the end, regardless, good or bad.
Yo, so I actually been through, I would think it's a similar situation, where there was a lot of things that I wanted to do, wanted to start, but the person that I was with was struggling with their identity. Like, you know what I mean? Became a mother really early, didn't know what they kind of wanted in life. You know what I'm saying? Just was tired of being a mom, but wanted to be outside of a mother and do different things. And I understand, I get it, right? But as a man, like, without the mistake I made was like, I ended up losing my identity trying to help somebody else get their identity. You know what I mean? Like, the things that I wanted to do and the things like sometimes, like, our heart might be in the right place and we might be trying to help because we like to fix things. We want to solve issues, but a lot of times we take on issues that's not really ours. You know what I mean? And what that does is derails what we had planned for ourselves. You know what I mean? And I'm doing it with the best intentions. You know what I'm saying? But it still took me out of my purpose. Like, like since I started like 2 different businesses, you know what I mean, and got other things going. But it's a lot of the ideas that I had, but I was so focused on trying to make things work and make things right that I lost sight of my own purpose and my own drive. So like again, I mean, what the guy was saying is 100% true. You get caught up in a whirlwind of people's issues, and it's always something happening, right? Boom, you might get derailed, but it's up to you to get like to keep going forward, like to keep moving forward. Like that should come, like I said, in that single phase when you're building yourself. That's a part of what you're gonna like. That's something that I'll never lose again. Like I'll never lose myself because now I know who I am and what I want and what I hold value. So I mean, what he was saying is true, but I still think that falls on like predominantly on the man. We just got to understand, you know, when you can when to hold them and when to fold them, and so to speak.
You were spitting on that one, boy. What's up, Lee? What's up, Lee?
So yeah, no, I mean I agree with dude, you know, wholeheartedly. I mean, like you have to be able to focus on you, and you have to get the right type of person in your life who's going to be you know, I don't want to say an assistant, but the type of person who is all in for the mission, you know what I mean, and is willing to go in and push for that mission. Because like he said, if you end up in that Captain Save-A-Ho situation, you know, then every single time you're going to be pushing towards something, you got to bag back a little bit, because now you got to jump over here and fix something, you know, or you got to jump over here and maintain something, or you got to jump over here. And so, you know, it's taking focus away. And not only is it taking focus away, but it's draining, you know what I mean? Especially if you're that type of fix it person, you know what I mean? You just don't want to hear complaining for the sake of complaining. You just like, you know what? Hey, okay, how can we fix this? How can we fix this? And now you're always pouring into somebody else's problems, and it's just, it drains you and takes time away from what you're trying to get to. So, you know, I agree with he's saying wholeheartedly.
Bet, man. Next question. So you know this whole GZ and Jenny May, or I don't know her name exactly, but why does smirk? Whatever her name is, you know they
Doesn't
go.
matter.
It really don't. Because here's a question, right? Could you be in a relationship with somebody who fetishes you, or that you're, you know, in a relationship with one of your fetishes? Go ahead, Lee.
So this is hard, right? So, you know what I mean? Because is it actual, like, do you actually, you know, love this person, or are you just like, it's like one of your bucket list thing, like, you know what I mean? Oh, I've always wanted to date a Asian, or I always wanted to date an Indian, or I always wanted to date a,
Something
you know
like a
what I mean?
midget, right? Like I
Yeah,
want to.
yeah, like something like that. And then
Yeah.
I don't know that we could say that word. What they call them, small people or something now. I don't know
Little
if politically
people, little
correct,
people, little
little
people.
people or whatever. But yeah, whatever.
They having that
But
wagon.
yeah. But yeah, when you if you get into it for that reason, you know what I mean? Even if you kind of like the person, like, you know, did you really take the time to get to know the person and have the right conversations to see if this thing would, you know, if this thing would work, you know, if it's for the long haul. And you know what I mean? I think it's like once you get married, it's like it's too late to be trying to figure it out or find it out. I mean, I guess you're changing. People are constantly changing all the time, every year, based on, you know, external and internal factors in their lives. So, you know what I mean? There's no way to really know, because what you say 10 years ago might not be the same truth today. So, you know what I mean? It's there's no way to really know. But I don't know how much change happens in 2 years. I mean, I'm sure a lot could, you know what I mean, based on, you know, deaths in the family, you know, things like that, tragic instances and things, you know, certain needs, desires, wants, you know, could change. And, you know, now you're looking at the situation like, man, maybe this ain't the right situation for me. But, you know, if you are to get in that based on a fetishized type of, you know, infatuation, I don't know if that's gonna hold weight for the long run. You know what I mean? It's good for now, you know what I mean, until that the fizz burns out, you know what I mean? So the what they say, the honeymoon phase is over now. So And now you got to get to real life, and you got to deal with real issues, and you got to have real conversations, and you got to deal with real problems. And now you got the in-laws, and these getting involved, and and everybody got something to say. So it's different, especially when you're in the public eye, because you can't really hide everything. You know what I mean? So stuff is just out there all the time. So it makes it even more difficult. But yeah, I just think that, that just makes it all the more difficult if that's what the relationship started on. You know what I mean? This whole fetishizing somebody. So
Look, man, I don't know why. Like, it just feel like I'm trying to get canceled tonight. But, so from a standpoint, like, I mean, I guess it depends on what the fetish is, to be honest. Not to be too specific, but like, if their fetish was to be a sub, that could work. Like, like they're literally gonna be your servant, and they're gonna do, like, that's gonna be their mission. That could work. But if it's based off of stereotypes, probably not. Because that doesn't take into account the individualism of that person. And now, granted, personally, I mean, I believe that a person can only pretend for so long. And for example, like in preparation for this show, like, because I really don't know who she is, all like that. But as I was kind of like going through a little bit of research I was doing for the show, literally, in what they say, every joke has a little bit of truth in it. And she literally said, white meat keeps her lean, and she likes dark meat on the side. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is the type of stuff that, like, she doesn't see him as the main dish. Like, regardless, I get he's a famous black dark meat, but regardless of the fact of that wasn't her preference. Like, that was literally her fetishization of, he was just a representation of her fetish. So with that being said, I mean, yeah, that was bound to not work. And with that being said, I mean, he probably was doing the same in reverse. Like, oh, she's going to be submissive. She's an Asian, but she's totally a modern woman. Like, she's not the prototypical Asian woman. Like, she's probably challenging him on stuff. And he probably was like, this, I could have had a sister. I could have had Keisha Cole for this.
And it's the other side of it that kind of bothers me. You know what I'm saying? Like I can never date. I don't date white girls. You know what I'm saying? I never have, but I could never be with a white girl only because she likes black guys. Like, that's kind of like, that's weird to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It would really bother me. I don't know. I don't know if I cut you off, but go ahead if you're done.
Yo, so honestly, I don't be up on a lot of different things, right? And because I'm not a big social media or a big TV person. So when y'all started talking about this, yeah, I thought it was him with the fetish, and it was like a result of him having a fetish for like Asian girls. I didn't know it was reversed, that the issue was she had a fetish. Like, I'm like, whoa, like that. You know what I'm saying? I was like taking like, oh, I was like, whoa, that's crazy, right? So I think, like, right, honestly, that just kind of goes to my point I was thinking about anyway, was we honestly make that decision every day. Like, you have a preference, right? You have a certain look that you look for. People jump in situations and relationships based off of their fetishes every day. You know what I mean? It could be, I got a thing for big booty girls. I got a thing for light-skinned people, light-skinned girls or light-skinned people in general, whatever, right? Dark skin. I think we jump into situations based off fetishes all the time. Like, it's just that they're famous. It kind of gets, you know what I'm saying, blown up. But I mean, I think we do this, like, and you could be with somebody and you're listening to them talk and be like, oh my God, this is terrible. But I'm about to go through this with this anyway, because that joint is fin that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I like, right? So I think just as another caveat to that is, I think Jeezy's like one of the corniest dudes on the planet, yo. Like, cause like everybody, and I'm telling you, everybody who deals with them doesn't never have nothing positive to say about him. But to me, it felt like he was trying to change himself, like, to fit, you know what I'm saying, what he wanted. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it seemed like, yo, it did, because he, all of a sudden he's on this, like, I'm on this corporate, the way he's speaking, the last album he had, You know what I'm saying? Like he was trying to do this rebirthing of Jeezy. Like he even took the young Jeezy off. It's just like he was trying to do this rebirth, trying to recreate itself. And I think now that I'm listening, like I think it had more to do with her and trying to keep up the image of whatever she wanted from him than it had to do with him. Like I didn't, for her to make that comment, that kind of like, you know what I mean, put me, yeah, man, really, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it kind of put me in that space, like, yo, what was he portraying to her? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think he was portraying I think she thought she had something and he created himself and became something else. I think he lost himself and now he lost her.
See,
She wanted the snowman, son. She wanted the snowman.
So for example, so I think that, like you said, man, you're kind of ill-informed on this. So with that being said, like I think if anything, it was kind of in reverse, that he was trying to do this whole maturation process, and growth is good. You know what they say, if you don't change, you ain't made enough. If money don't change you ain't made enough yet. So I think he got to a point where he was trying to change, and she fit the bill for what he was trying to change into. And that's kind of what we have been talking about. He was on his purpose, and she fit that criteria for what he thought he wanted to be. And he was like, this is more trouble than it's worth, because he's leaving her. Like, he's like, get her out of here. Like, it's not worth it. Like, I got a daughter, whatever. I know I'm probably going to end up paying child support, whatever. But hey, my peace is more important than this nuclear family or this perception of whatever. Like, I'm out. So this maturation and this facade that I was creating, I'd much rather have my peace than this facade. So yeah, I mean, like I don't think it makes it corny. I think what we've been talking about all this time is, it's on the look. He realized he made a mistake. I think that was last episode we talked about that. He made a wrong pick on his draft pick. He cut bait.
Yeah.
He cut bait and was like, "We're gonna try it again." Hey, fire the offensive coordinator, start over.
I don't mind growth. I kind of like how he's progressed and became the guy he is. You know what I'm saying? Because where he started and what we were listening to, it kind of goes with my own growth. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as who I used to be, what I used to do, and who I used to be around, what I allowed to be acceptable, and what I don't no longer allow in my life. You know what I'm saying? And I think you've gone through that too. A lot of it we got to we're afraid to shed some of those old layers. You know what I mean? Because in fear of being judged, or you changed, or you different, you know what I'm saying? But screw all that, man. I'm going that way. You know what I'm saying? And something that kind of makes me reminds me is as we progress forward, I'll realize how far off the mark I've been. You know what I'm saying? So like, because your peer group changes, and when that peer groups change, like everybody around you is doing different things that they've been doing. It's new to you, but now you're thinking like, dang, how do I stay here? How do I keep this circle around? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because whatever's going on up here is good. You know what I'm saying? You see the things they're doing. These guys, got whole families. These guys got boats. These guys got nice houses, cars, or whatever. If they're thinking about it or not, you know what I'm saying? The money opportunities that they're putting together, it's just a different different brand, different value. You know what I'm saying? And essentially that's where we all really want to go. We all like, we can't really act like we really want to stay the hood. You know what I'm saying? If anything, we should want to change the hood, but I don't think there's enough people in the hood to kind of change it, to make it a suburban feel per se, to make our schools, not enough people care to make our schools better. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of how I feel about it. I don't mind his growth. I kind of appreciate it, and it's the one thing that keeps me like listening to his music. But I don't know. From this, I don't want to speak too much into how that situation is, because there's a lot of stuff we don't know. You know what I'm saying? So how much more can we really say? You know what I mean? But I don't think he's.
But here's what we do know. Like, think about how bad it had to be for the man to leave. Like, it had to be pretty bad.
We said that though. We've said that plenty of times. If a man leaves you, you're terrible.
Pretty bad.
You're terrible.
There's no hope. That's it. You know what I'm saying? You're Ryan Leaf. Like, you're done. Like, it's no coming back, yo.
So to skip it to the next question, man, right? Because we're on the marriage section. When are guys normally looking to get married? You know what I'm saying? So what are the age ranges that do men find it best valuable for them to get married? Leafer, you got it.
Honestly, don't know, man. Like, when I think about you know, a lot of people, like a lot of the people who came before me that got married, and then I think of, you know, some of the people in my peer group that got married. Like the people who came before me, man, they were getting married, I don't know, 20s, you know, early 20s and stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking like now my peer group is probably like 30s, you know what I mean? Early to mid 30s, you know, and then I think of you know, some other couples, you know what I mean, that are you know, that might get married a lot later. You know what I mean? They didn't have as much success early on. So, you know, getting married a lot later. But I think for my peer group, it's probably that, you know, early 30s, that early 30s, early to mid 30s range. You know, we're getting married nowadays. And I guess that goes along with, you know, just the societal norms, because I guess back in the day, you could, you know, work a 9 to 5 and raise, you know, your wife and kids and your side wife and kids too on that one income. So, you know, you can't really do the same thing nowadays. It's a little bit more difficult. So yeah, I think probably early to mid 30s is the people getting married now.
Mo?
Or the men are getting married early to mid 30s, men.
The side question kind of threw me off. I was reading that, but so realistically in today's society, man, like 30, and I'm not even really counting our generation because we're past that. You know, like nowadays, man, it's probably even later. It's like 35 and up, probably. Because generally, and this is this is the one thing that hasn't changed. In our society, it is commonly known that the man has to provide and protect. And until they're at a certain place financially, they're not really even willing to make that jump. Like they don't necessarily know if they're gonna make it yet. To tether themselves to somebody else and have to be responsible for a wife and kids. So ideally, people, at least people that are responsible, it's probably gonna be like 35 and up at this point. Now, granted, for our generation, I would say it was like 30, but again, man, I always felt I was a little bit different. Man, I did it at 22. You know what I mean? Like I felt I was ready, man. I was like, you know, how y'all say it. Y'all was like, you know, it's all on the man and you got to know. Like I was like, yo, I know I'm going to make it. I know I'm going to be straight. I'm going to be having my way for a long time. So I can do it now. But I think that the responsible people nowadays, it's 35 and up, and it's in response to kind of our generation. Back then, I think it was about 30.
Yeah, I think our generation, I think it just our traditions. I would say it was probably earlier than 30, man. I think it was like 25. Like you was taught kind of like you go to college, get out of college, get married, get a job, and start providing. I think it was like early on, because a lot of these, I mean, just like Mo said, a lot of people were going off of what grandma did with grandpa. They were married at like 18, you know what I'm saying, 19. Like even like in the bird growing up, people would have kids at 18 and be like ghetto married. You know what I'm saying? Be in the house, living in that crib. They got their girl, they've been with each other, common law. I think it was just early on. I think we were taught that early on, that that's what you're supposed to do. You know, you fell in love, got married, had your kids, and then start raising them. But I think, like, you know, I agree with these guys, like 35 and up is kind of when a man mentally matures. You know what I mean? And he's mentally maturing, my opinion, right? He's mentally maturing at, you know what I'm saying, at that age. Because I'm being real, like it took me 32 to kind of start figuring things out. You know what I'm saying? Like to become like to build that, like that mental, you know what I'm saying, fortitude to be like a lot of different things stop bothering me. I didn't have to deal with a lot of the demons I was dealing with. You know what I mean? I kind of started being at peace with a lot of different things. So, you know what I mean? You being in that position and understanding yourself and your issues and different things help you make a better decision than your mate. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, if you don't deal with what you're dealing with, you're gonna find that in somebody else. You know what I mean? Because it's familiar water. So I think, like the guy said, 35 and up, like would probably be the decision. But I think early on, man, a lot of stuff we learned was generational. And you know what I mean? It don't work like it did back then because people think different. The world is different. I think generationally it was very early. I think white people did it later. They was always doing it later. You know what I mean? And I think, you know what I mean, that's why, you know what I mean, they had some of the success they had. So I think we fall in line at this point.
So one thing I've been kind of paying attention to and what I've seen, man, is men are more eager to get married before 30. Especially the ones who like you said, you knew you was going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of men are like that. And I think we want that struggle, like, you know, be married together and kind of like come together, struggle a little bit, but you know, we'll make it. And you know what I'm saying? I think we're more hopeless romantics than women are. So even still, I think a challenge for a 20-year-old man, you know, the men in their 20s, like the counterparts are looking for guys 10 years above. You know what I'm saying? And they're over there thinking like, oh, guys in their 30s are this way or that way. And they're more of a joke than, you know, and we know that though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he ain't all that. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's my uncle, man. Or that's my coach. He telling me anything, like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm way better than them dudes. But you know, I think we're ready before 30. And a lot of times, a lot of older women will pick on younger men, you know what I'm saying? Because they've already been ran through and they be like, well, dang, let me just go down and get let me go down and get one of them young bucks who's eager, you know what I'm saying? And then that way he's eager. I can mold him or I can teach him what Mr. Charles taught me. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I tried to drop a bomb, but I don't have a bullet.
That what that was.
That cougar, that's that cougar.
Yeah, the cougar, she'll go back thinking I can teach him what Mr. Charles taught me. You know what I'm saying? And that way he'll think that I'm smart, you know, and he'll have this level of appreciation to be loyal once he make it. If I could take a young dude and get him to the next level and get him to make it, you know what I'm saying? Then we build out loyalty, and that's how a lot of young dudes get suckered into, you know what I'm saying? I think even after that though, so men are likely or they have the desire to be married while in their 20s. Then when they hit 30s and start hitting a stride, they have no desire to be married because that thing just opens up with all the options they want. You know what I'm saying? They're making money and they see what it really is. You know how things are really going. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just a whole nother world. So like the men in them 30s, they're not really worried about getting married. They're sitting back and selecting. You know what I'm saying? And playing and tasting all the dessert. You know what I'm saying? And that don't stop until he hit about 42, 43, and he's like, all right, I'm done. I had it. You know what I'm saying? Let me wash my hands of it. You know what I'm saying? Because my 30s was wild. I tasted everything I could taste. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think the hot period for a man is a catching before 30 and anything after 42. You know what I'm saying? Anything in that range of 30 to 42. Man, you better get out that way, boy, because that boy steamrolling, man. That boy steamrolling through that thing, man.
Yeah, the only pushback on that is, as far as the cougar thing, I think it does work initially, but once that guy reaches that certain age of maturity and understands, he dips, yo. Like it always happens. So if it's rare, it's very, very rare that you get the older woman and the younger guy and it's successful. I know plenty of people that didn't make it because at first that mommy thing, it works. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you get caught, you feel it. But then once that guy becomes independent and he kind of realized that he can't be a free thinker because this woman is really like trying to control his thought because she had to do that because she can no longer compete physically with the young girls no more. The people his age, the physical competition is over. It has to be a mental thing. You know what I'm saying?
Game, yeah.
Yeah, but when he starts becoming independent, yeah, you know what I mean? And he's starting to win and he got things going and she can't no longer control him. That's when that shit dissolves because she just becomes angry. You know what I mean? She's trying to hold him. And, you know what I'm saying? You won't listen to, it's terrible, yo. It doesn't work. So I do agree that happens initially, but the guy eventually breaks free.
Because you got to think about it. Them dudes is yearning for knowledge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're yearning for insight. They're yearning for a woman who can pour into them. You know what I'm saying? They're yearning for somebody that just help them think clear, help them make the right moves. They're hungry. You know what I'm saying? So it backfires for sure. But, like you said, once he comes to his own, he's like, wait a minute. Those old cookies, like, you know what I'm saying?
Good time, not a long time.
Period, man. So I always tell dudes like, look, man, don't make these bad mistakes just because you young, eager, like, you know what I'm saying? Because on the other side of this thing, you know, there's a whole nother world, man, and they're gonna be eating out your hand, buddy. So let's dive into the next question, man. Like, so what would you tell them is some of the benefits of marriage? Like, what are the perks of this thing? Go ahead, Lee.
I think in the excuse me, in the ideal, situation, ideal marriage, I would say the perks of it are, the companionship, the partnership, being able to, have somebody that you trust, you can bounce ideas off of, somebody who'll be supportive, you know what I mean? Somebody who is, I gotta say it like a role player, you know what I mean? Somebody who knows where they fit in the marriage and knows, their role in the marriage and is happy to play that role, you know what I mean? And to be able to see the goal and see the bigger picture and help you work towards that bigger picture for the betterment of the family and the mission.
Go ahead, Mo.
No, that was real. And as somebody who's about to do it again, man, I really believe, like, in myself, I'm not the same as most other people. I don't need a partnership. I don't need, like, it's nothing like that. Man, I have a very niche role that I need for that mate. I would like to think I kind of operate at an 82%. Most of the time, all I need you to come in and give me.
You mean by yourself?
8. Yeah, I need you to
you
come
get
in
yourself an 82% by yourself?
Yeah. I think I just need that person to come in and provide a solid 18 consistently. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want you to give me 18 now and then, oh, okay, that was tough. And then no, like, I'm only asking for 18.
Let's talk about that real quick. Let's
a strong 18%.
How much percent can we really expect from a woman? Like, what you think?
Depends what are we talking about?
Wherever we're at, regardless of what we are naturally, right? You give yourself an 82,
mm-hmm.
right? What percent of input, support, love, better half, or other half, I would say, could we really expect to really get from a woman? How much? What would y'all, if y'all put a number on it, or percentage on
20 is the most you can expect, in my opinion. 20. Man, I was fighting to not tell y'all this story. Literally, I always remember my grandma told me this back in the day, because she saw I was very mature and I was adamant on trying to do things early. And she said, I'll never forget it. She said, Mo, all women are the same. Some are just worse. I was like, damn, like, for somebody who's been married 50 years, I'm like, that's a wild thing to say.
Hey, women are harsh. Like, our grandmas and our moms was harsh on women. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if we were soft on them, they knew a little bit more.
They knew. And think about it, because she had raised 3 boys prior in the previous generation. And she was like, I'm going to do it different this time. So I was her do-over. And she was like, all women are the same. Some are just worse.
What would you say, Hit? What's your perspective?
I'm gonna go with 0. I think because I think, honestly, again, I think whatever the other person brings is a bonus to the situation. I'm not looking for you to supply anything that I can't get from myself. And that's how I look. I mean, that's the issue. Anything you bring to me is a bonus. That's going to help us get there faster. But I'm going to get there regardless. You know what I mean? It's no stopping. I'm just not looking for somebody to provide anything for
so
me.
Here's a question. So do you even plan on getting married again?
I've
been there. Yeah, I knew it.
Hey, wait a minute. Hold on. I got to count the years. I got to count the years from Vic saying, hold on, how many years that's going to be? When I said, how many years is that going to be till I get to that golden age where I'm starting to think about it again?
You still got another decade to go, buddy. Live it up.
Yeah, but I would say, I never had a problem being married. Like, I understand. I think there's a lot that comes with marriage. I think it provides stability for a man, right? It takes you out of that hunt so you can focus. Like, so it takes.
Well,
I think it takes you out
that's
of the.
worth some percentage, right?
Yeah, but she's not doing it. She's just providing a space for me. But I'm still taking myself out of the hunt, so I can take more of my percentage away from chasing and put that into what I'm supposed to be putting it into to building. But I don't think
I would get out right. I'm with hit on. I would probably give that like a 1%, like maybe 3 at max. You know what I'm saying? If you could take me out the hunt, I get out only 3%. Really, like you know what I'm saying?
Is she really taking you out the hunt?
It has some value.
But is she really taking them out of the hunt, or is she just providing an alternative to hunting?
Right, and really, in actuality, it's the difference between, all right, what's for dinner? We're out right now. Like, all right, man, I can stop at Chick-fil-A, or I could just go home and eat what's in the refrigerator. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the difference. That's only how much of your day is that worth? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's only worth about 3%. You know, I would give it 3% max. And that's like it's just eating leftovers and eating fast food. If that's all she provides, if all she eat at home.
I think the powers that be frozen because
yeah. I thought it was mine.
They were like, you're going too hard.
Y'all
didn't hear nothing. Y'all didn't hear what I just said.
No, you're bro. I thought it was mine. I was like, yo, because
Big
that's
Brother was
crazy.
like, oh no.
I'm gonna say it again. Like I said, I don't know what's the last part of y'all heard of me, but I was just saying it's only going to give you about 3%, a 3% charge. You know what I mean, to whatever your max is. Because if all you have to offer is me eating fast food or eating some leftovers at home, you know what I'm saying? How much of a chance? How much did that really change my projection? You know, in my life, not much other than I don't got to, turn on the microwave.
So that's but there's more, right? There's more to it than just taking them out of the hunt, right?
Yeah, I think I said so. If you're looking at what the perks are, for me, right? Like it's just the companionship. It's that they having that person to be able to, you know what I'm saying, just to call and say, yo, this is how my day is going. You know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? Just having that when you grow, like I look at my great grandmother and they were like in their 90s and I watched her take care of her husband. You know what I'm saying? And to that man, like passed away in the home. Like she took care of him till he left. And I look like, to me, that was what marriage was about. You know what I mean?
And
to the end.
More than 3%. Like, that's my point.
But what I'm saying is that's not, but she's not giving nothing. Like when I say
she's not normal either. Like that's not things that they normally just do now. You know what I'm saying? Like we're saying, like women are not functioning in caring for their guys like that no more. You know what I'm saying? Like some of them are really just at home, just being something to poke on. like that's it. That's all they're really providing. Like they're not providing any insight. They don't have no idea.
You're saying a wife? You're saying a wife? Or you saying just somebody that lives in the house, a roommate?
So some wives too, like there's wives that's all they are. It's just something for you to poke on. There's no support. Like there's no mental support. There's no emotional connection. They're just here. You can poke on me when you're ready, and in return, you know what I'm saying, I'll live off of you for free.
Yo, but I think that comes from this. Yo, I think yo, some of that comes from but sheesh. I think a lot of that comes from honestly
said this. Jesus.
But yo, because I don't think a lot of women aren't, and I can't speak for women, but I'm saying I don't know if they're being taught how to be wives at this juncture. So they think, okay, I'm not supposed to damn my husband. Everybody knows that, right? You're supposed to give him something. You don't give him something, you're gonna go out and get it, right? We all know those old adages, but I don't think they're actually taught, right, how to like be a wife, right? You know what I mean? Even they're going to compete with you, right? As far as like who's making the money, who's doing the job. It's going to be a competitive, like a competitive partner, or like you said, they're going to be, you know what I'm saying, basically a cum bucket. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I mean, just being real. So I think it's like this. I think it's, but that's where we had to come in again and be structured enough to teach. You know what I'm saying? Like. We got to be structured enough to teach. We talk about it, showing them what you like, but you got to show them how to support you too. Like, not just how you want to be loved and all that. You got to tell them like, hey, listen, this is what I need from you. You know what I mean? And be able to articulate it and give them a plan where they can understand it and they can, you know what I mean, get on board with what you're looking for.
So all that's not worth anything to you.
But she's not giving it to you. You're still the driver. You're still, you know what I'm saying? You're still the initiator.
None of them
the
come.
teacher.
Well, we all know none of them come prepackaged. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to give them the work. You got to put in mad work to uptrain that person with no skills, no talent. You know what I'm saying? You gotta put in all that just to get a return on the back end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it depends on how much work you got to put in.
So so you did all that, and let's say they got up to speed. You're still saying that holds no.
No, I mean now you become a little bit more efficient. You know,
that's a bonus. But I feel like that's not a bonus.
That's not a bonus.
Because I was going to get there by myself anyway, and I still had to structure it to get there. I still had to work from myself to get there.
So
now that you're giving me more, I'm a bonus.
We already agreed that men cannot get to 100% efficiency on their own, right?
I never said that.
I agree.
I don't know, Lee. For you're the other one. You got to answer. Can men get to 100% efficiency on their own?
I mean, I thought I already agreed. I was shaking my head because I thought we all agreed, but I guess Hit was silent on that one.
Yo, he's tired. Like,
bro, no, I was telling him he need to get that Gatorade.
I don't think. I mean, if you can believe you could get to 100% on your own, then I mean, kudos to you. Maybe you could. Yeah, I don't really think men can. You know what I'm saying?
Getting to 100% and maintaining 100%.
This is two different things. Yeah, true.
It's two different things, and that is nearly impossible. You know what I mean? You can do it with Red Bull and Gatorades probably, but it's hard. So you know what I mean? Having somebody and not to say just somebody for support, but somebody who can take something off your plate. You know what I mean? Something that you don't even got to worry about. It's just getting done. Like they know, I know my boo's over here doing this. He don't got time to worry about this. Let me take care of this. You know what I mean? Just that. I mean, that's worth more than 3%. You know,
but that's a bonus. That's a bonus.
I wouldn't say like a bonus.
That's essential.
That's a bonus.
Your bonusing is saying you can get over 100%.
Okay, let me ask you a question now. Hold on. You're a single guy, right? So you're telling me as a single guy, you can't get to 100% by yourself?
I don't think so.
No, because I'm outside.
You got to have a woman to get you there.
I think so.
Yeah.
To
be sustained, yes.
In the video you just showed, the guy said that you're actually more efficient being single, right? Right.
If you have the right woman, he said if you got the right woman, you project, you propel.
You project. But basically what he's saying is
you supercharge that thing, yeah.
Okay. But I just that's what I'm saying. I don't understand the premise of if I'm single and I'm still trying to drive to get somewhere, you're telling me I need a woman to be able to open my company, or I need a woman to be able to operate my business to be a
we're just saying you need a woman to help you sustain the 100%. If you can get there, if you can get to 100%, you're amazing. Trust. Like I would say that if you can even get to 100% with no woman support, you're amazing. But even staying there at that level, say that again.
Based off his response, that showed that there's a blind spot. You know what I mean? That's where a woman could potentially be protecting that blind spot, man.
You know what though? Here's the thing, man. Like 80% of millionaires are married. 86%. So what do they know that we don't? You know what I'm saying? Like if the majority of rich men are married, there got to be a reason. I think the thing is they're not telling us why. Truthfully, honest, there's no they're not feeding that info back down to to the masses on. Look, we're married, and this is what I did to get her to help me be efficient. So it's kind of like blind, but there is a data point that 80%, 86% of millionaires are married. So there got to be a reason. They're not doing nothing for nothing. I
got a rebuttal, and this is something that you can relate to because you was there. We met a guy on a boat who had his own boat, right? In a successful company. He said that his path to success was he didn't even have sex, right? For how many years?
I think he said like 10.
right?
Yeah.
Until he was able to get his business going, and now he's doing whatever he wants to do. So you telling me that man wasn't operating at 100%, and the reason why he operated 100% because
Yeah, so I
he stayed away from women.
I sat there and got jewels from him when y'all kept jumping from boat to boat. I sat there and picked his brain, and he was like, "Yeah, my ex-wife helped me get all of it. I wouldn't have got it if she wouldn't have been a part of this business." He definitely chunked her off. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't just I built it on my own. He was building it. He put his head down, he grounded, and he focused. But he still got married, had kids, and he's open about giving his wife that woman deserved everything. She did everything I needed her to do.
That was bonus. That's
That
what I'm
wasn't
telling
bonus.
you.
He basically just said
Plateau.
He wasn't buying a boat without her.
50% of zero is zero.
Yo, I think he was already operating at 100. She took him to another plateau. She leveled him up, right?
So he wasn't operating at 100 because 100 means you can't go above it. If there's more levels to get, you're not at 100.
Yo, I don't know about that, son. I think there's different levels. Bro. Yeah, I think there's different levels, man. I think you can be operating just like it's like Madden. You got rookie, you got all pro, you got playing on all Madden. You can be great in rookie, but you need to step your levels up, right? Because I think, yeah, he probably wasn't at the level he was at without her, but I think he was already getting there. She just helped him level up. She put him in a bonus. I just think we can operate at a high level if we stay focused. The problem with men is that we have terrible focus. You know what I'm saying? And like we get very distracted easy. So is that a percentage? I don't know what that's worth.
That's worth a lot. Focus is a lot of percentage, right? And if you can't focus, you're not at 100 if you can't focus.
But it's on the person, the individual to focus, not somebody to provide focus for you.
But most people can't do it on their own. Why do you think pharmaceutical ADHD drugs is so popping?
And I think once a person realizes where their holes are in their life, you know what I mean? They fill their holes, you know, a smart person, you know, and maybe he got to a certain level and he was like, man, it'd be dope if I had a partner in this thing with me. You know what I mean? Somebody who was riding me, you know what I mean? To get me to focus where I need to focus. And at that point, maybe that's when he got married. So, you know what I mean? It takes a somebody who has some self-awareness and a level of intelligence to be able to say, you know, if only I had this here, I can get to the next level. So, you know what I mean? Maybe that's what he did at one point. He was grounded, getting there, and he saw, you know, some shortcoming, and he was like, I know how to level up. So
if you're going to get married, there's a lot of one thing I always hear about marriage is you got to compromise. You got to compromise. You got to compromise. I don't necessarily understand that, but if you guys can go over what are we compromising to be in a marriage or to, you know what I mean, to get that level, that, you know, that extra percentage. What's the compromise?
I think that depends on the marriage. It depends on, you know, the individuals, because you know, different people got different requirements, as we are, you know, as you say all the time, and Mo specifically says all the time, is like, you know, this is what I require. I require this. So, you know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, based on your requirements, you might have to forego something else, or you might have to just say, you know, especially in any negotiation, you know what I mean? That's what a lot of the compromise is going to be. In any negotiation, both people are going to walk away feeling like they left something on the table. You know what I mean? Nobody's walking away completely happy. And I think that's what the compromise is. It's like, you know, I'm trying to think of a compromise that I got going on, but I can't think. I'm blanking right now. But I'll just think of one just off the top of my head. It's like whether to go to Paris or whether to go to Venice, Italy. You know what I mean? And then, you know, you're weighing the options because maybe the wife wants to go to Paris, but you've always wanted to go to Venice. So now you figure out, okay, well, how do we compromise on this thing? So, you know, at the end of the day, both of you might not get what you want, but you might get a solid middle ground. Like, okay, we're just going to go to Rome. You know what I mean? And it might not be exactly what everybody wanted, but you compromised on the outcome so that everybody's happy. or at least content, maybe not happy?
From a compromise standpoint, man, like you said, I mean, I think it looks different for different people in different relationships. And for me, man, like I said, man, for what I'm giving up in regards to freedom and, you know, all that, that, you know, I don't think that means I should be giving up a whole lot. But with that being said, I do understand that, you know, you're having to deal with a whole nother person with emotions and a mind or whatever. And, you know, let's use Leifer's scenario where, you know, you're going, the choice is what, I think it was what, Paris or Rome. In my scenario, the compromise is we're going to both. Because if I just have to go to Greece, we'll be like, man, neither one of us want, so why should we both be unhappy? So, and then if we just went to yours, I'm probably going to make it unbearable for you to be there and I'm going to ruin it for you. So that's one of the things that I thought of when it came to me doing it again, and doing it meaning getting married, but like to where that's not an issue. Like when it comes to, you know, financial, when it comes to like big decisions, like it's not going to be from a scarcity mindset when it comes to those type of decisions and compromises. Like it's because we don't have the time or we don't have the bandwidth. Those are the compromises that I'm looking forward to having, but not because we can only do one because of money. No, if that was the case, I would, in my mind, I would say I'm not ready to be married again.
I'm looking at it more from a standpoint of, my bad, more from a standpoint of she wants to go to Paris. I want to go to Venice is what I'm saying. We both want to go to Rome. So
got you.
Instead of going to either or, we just go to the place that we both wanted to go to. Got you.
Okay. That works.
Yeah, I think in a marriage, I think sometimes to compromise is actually misjudged, right? So a lot of people think compromising is you having to sacrifice some of the things you believe in, some of the things you value. I think that you never sacrifice that. You never compromise those things. You're not compromising like my goals and the things I've been driven for to meet somebody else's requirements. I think that often it what causes issues in the marriage, because later on you're like, man, I could have did this if I didn't do this for you, or I could have been this, or you know what I mean? Cause a lot of issues. I think the compromise is things that like your habits and stuff that you have, things that you learn, because you guys are coming from two different backgrounds, and you guys pick up a lot of these habits, right? Or a lot of these little twerks and little things that you like to do, or you know, I leave my toothpaste out over here, or I put my toothbrush, you know what I'm saying? And it's those little things like you're coming with a person and you guys are trying to relearn each other, and you know what I'm saying, and merge your upbringing with her upbringing and trying to find, you know what I'm saying, some type of common ground with that. And I think those are the things like that you're compromising. Because if anything else, you know what I mean, because it's two different individuals coming together, right? And you guys are trying to figure out what works. Hey, I learned this growing up, but you know what I mean, you don't do this, I do this, you know what I mean? And you like, you know, you kind of ask questions, oh, why do you do that? Or no, we ain't gonna do that, but we can do this. I think those are the things that you get compromised. But when you start compromising the big ones, like your values, beliefs, you know what I mean, and things of that nature, then that's when you start having some issues, you know what I'm saying, inside the marriage. Because somebody feels like they're losing something. And even if it's just them losing a piece of themselves, they still losing.
And I'm not trying to be contrary, but that's a very that was a very level response. And like that's actually what a partner would want. But at the same time, you're like, from a percentage standpoint, you're giving them 0. Like that's a tough proposition, bro.
I'm not counting percentages though. I'm not going to percentage.
Well, hopefully, okay. Well, here's what you do. You need to marry an accountant because you're not good at math, and that's what it is.
Yo,
that's
listen,
what it is. Get you an accountant.
Like, all right, if you're in a situation, are you going to compromise something that you believe in? Like that you believe that are you going to compromise what you wanted to be in life or the goals and everything that you had just to meet somebody else's requirements?
And this is one thing that I've always had about me. If you can provide a better alternative and a good reason and a good logic behind it, yes. I'm open to changing my course for new information. And that's the thing about me. Like, I'm not willing to think that I have it all figured out. And I think, in my mind, that's my superpower. That I'm agile. Like, this is what I wanted to be all my life. I wanted to be a pediatrician since I was 6 years old. That ain't gonna happen. That didn't mean I was gonna go back to Wilkinsburg and do what they doing. Like, I was like, no, I had to make moves. So
that was a compromise though, bro.
It was.
Now that's not a good one though. Like,
but I'm okay with it. I'm okay where I.
Why would you be okay with that?
So, because what I wanted at 6 years old, like looking back on it, like me going through a whole. Think about where I was when we got done with school. I was gonna have another 12 years of school. I don't know if I could have did it.
I don't know. I mean, you speak otherwise.
Yeah, I don't know.
Your character says otherwise.
But and potentially, and I said the same thing about the school I chose to go to as well. Because I'm like, ooh, and it's one of those things where it's like confirmation bias. You're like, I didn't get to do it, so I'm like, I don't know if I would have made it anyway. So sometimes you're trying to mind trick yourself into it. But what I'm saying is,
we had that conversation. What I always say.
Right. Yeah. You always say, no, you would have. And I probably would have. But with that being said, I'm perfectly fine where I ended up and where my life is right now. And that's the thing that I think people need to be able to understand. It ain't about the decision makes, is can you live with the decision and the ramifications of that decision? And I can.
So, man, you hit some great points there, man. I don't know if I could really. I don't do well with plan Bs. I just do plan A until it falls. You know what I'm saying?
Plan
so
B
I don't
penicillin, huh?
Yeah, I don't.
Shout out to Smooth.
I get them by the 12-pack.
You know what I'm saying? So I just no, not plan B that way. But y'all understand what I'm saying? Just like I stick to my A goal until A goal says we don't want you. You know what I'm saying? Then I'll be like, all right, I'll pick another goal. Since I can't have A, then I'm gonna go with the next one, and I'm gonna ride that till the wheels fall off. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I haven't compromised much. You know what I mean? I would say a compromise would be in the light of a plan B. A compromise would be you getting a surgery, you getting the snip. So she don't want, because she don't want more kids. That would be like a huge compromise that a man would make. I would think in a marriage. You don't think?
So I guess it depends. Like, and the reason I say it depends is a couple things. One, do you want more kids? Two, do you plan on being with her? You know what I mean? Like, if she doesn't understand it, she's not for the long haul. Like, it's only a compromise because, like, if she's not going to be the one raising it, like, that's why you're like, it's a compromise.
Good point.
So that's why I'm like, I don't know.
Good point. But I mean, I will point do you gonna have some pushback. But I will point do handling maintaining your own body for what you wanted to do is your responsibility and not somebody else's.
Your body, your choice. You're right.
So why should I make a choice to not impregnate you when you're the one who don't want to be pregnant?
Because she doesn't want to, like, oof. Yeah, I mean, I just think it just depends. It depends on the end game and what y'all can agree to.
I got another video to play. Let's get to it.
And you have to ask yourself, did they become my girl for perfect attendance, or was it because of a connection? So I settled with who was consistent.
You hear that too. And, I mean, you hear men take pride in that. Yeah, she was always there.
Yes.
That's what you'll hear all the time.
Yeah. But you were never emotionally there. Yeah, and so we a lot of times let our hearts settle where there is no expectation. So we love who questions us the least. We love who challenges us the least. We love who demands from us the least. Oh, that's a good girl right there. Yeah, our standard is no drama. Ask yourself, did they become my girl for perfect attendance, or was it because of a connection? So I settled with who was consistent.
You hear that too. And
Yeah.
I mean, you hear men take pride in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was always there.
Yes.
That's what you'll hear all the time.
Yeah. But you were never emotionally there. Yeah. And so we a lot of times let our hearts settle where there is no expectation. So we love who questions us the least. We love who challenges us the least. We love who demands from us the least. Oh, that's a good girl right there. Yeah,
Yeah. What's your thoughts?
Leafer, hey, you want to spin? I need to consider if I want to get this canceled.
Yep.
I guess I'm in rotation. I've seen that. You know what I mean? I can't say that I've ever been that guy because I tend to like a little pizzazz, a little extra zest. You know what I mean? I try to like to stay on my feet because I'm super self motivated, and I like to be on my own self mission. But sometimes I need to, you know, I need a little push. You know what I mean? I need a little extra to keep me on my mission. But yeah, I've seen that a lot. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, you know, that I've had conversations with, you know, just the path of least resistance. Somebody who is extremely malleable and agreeable and just maybe there's no emotional connection there, but this person is so consistently there and always wherever I need them to be when I need them to be there. That this is a no-brainer. This is what I need. You know what I mean? Regardless of how I feel, this is what I need in my life. So I've seen that a lot. So I know that it's a real thing. I just don't know if that thing is something that I would enjoy or uh, be able to maintain for a long period of time. It would just be like, I don't know. You don't have any thoughts of your own. You don't know ideas. You don't have nothing. It's just whatever you like, whatever you like. And that I couldn't. That would just I couldn't do it. So
What's up, Mo?
All right. So I'm glad Leafer took a little while. I got a chance to think about my response. Great message, bad messenger.
Let's not focus on the messenger. Let's not focus on the messenger. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Let's
right. That's why.
How you throw something out of the court? I object.
Yeah, I was like,
is that how you do it? I object. We're not talking about the messenger. We're just strictly the message. Focus on the message.
No, I think so. So I think that's a good message. Settling, and now I will say sometimes I think stability, like for me, I yearned for, because I necessarily didn't grow up with it. So I yearned for stability, right? So sometimes we gravitate towards what we came up in, whether it being toxic or whatever, it being up and down. Whereas I yearn for that. Now, granted, like I said, I'm operating, in my opinion, I'm operating at 82. I only need you to come with 18. So if you're coming with a consistent 18, that's enough for me. Where some people, like, they want a partner. I don't. Like, I want you to be the silent partner. Like, I don't necessarily need you to always be challenging everything. Like, because I've got this far doing it my way. Like, don't keep trying to take the wheel and taking me off course. So that's not necessarily, and I think it's more of a niche in what you need. But I think that's a great message. So you definitely have to kind of assess if, like, is just a perfect attendance award to be my wife, or is it, did you're actually the right mate for me? So I think that's a very valid and worthwhile conversation to have with yourself. So I definitely agree with that. But in that video, I couldn't help but start thinking other things. So
I think again, that seems like a personality flaw within the guy. I think that shows if you're a guy that accepts those things, you're typically not a driven guy. You're probably the guy that didn't make the team. You're probably the guy that's going to go for the cougar because she's going to coddle you. She's not going to challenge you. She's going to, you know what I mean? You're going to get a different perspective. Um, like, you know what I mean? I'm not.
I think cougars push.
Nah.
Yeah,
they
they're gonna hold
coddle.
you accountable. They're gonna
Yeah,
hold you
Nah, they're
accountable.
gonna
cougars push.
they're gonna
Yeah.
coddle
Yeah,
you.
cougars push.
They're gonna
I-
go mommy route. Your mom
No,
pushes you, but your mom pushes you way different than how a guy will push you.
no,
See,
but I
you'd have
mean,
been better off
They're not
saying
going to
the fat
challenge
girl or the
you.
ugly
a
girl.
cougar will still push though. A
They're gonna
cougar's gonna
push.
push you.
Yeah, you're right. They're gonna push, but they're not gonna challenge.
Well, it depends
He
on
said
the
challenge.
cougar. So it's kind of like the cougar that's thinking of you long. There's cougars that know you short term. They're not gonna push you. They're gonna coddle you to get what they want. You know what I'm saying? But there's the cougars that's looking to seal their deal with you. You know what I'm saying? They're pushing you because they're trying to get you to Mr. Charles status, because what they used to have and couldn't keep. So now they're trying to train you to get to that status. So they're going to try to push and get everything out. Like, I'll be back. Like, they're on a vengeance.
So you gotta. So I would compare it to how you would have a female teacher push you, and then how you would have the coach come and talk to you. Right? They're gonna just still pushing you. They want you to graduate, want you to be successful, but it's gonna be two different type of conversations. See what I'm saying? You're gonna get a way different conversation when it comes from a challenge from a man. It's gonna be way different. Would you agree?
I
It's
agree,
two
but that's
different.
the whole point. We're not marrying men. Like that's the whole point. Like
Yeah, but
I
he's
don't
talking
want that.
about, but he's talking about being challenged. Like you're not getting challenged. You're just kind of, you're a person that don't want to be challenged. You don't want to be pushed. You don't want to be, you're going for the easier route. And what I'm saying is now how that correlates. That's the personality thing within the man in general. So if that's what he's looking like, that's what he does. Like it's like the 6'5" guy, right? That's at the job and he's not doing nothing, and you're
Yeah.
correcting him and you're challenging him, and they say, you're in HR with this big dude and he's crying. You know what I'm saying? Like them is the dudes that he's referring to, yo. Like you're looking like, damn, this dude is like, what the hell? Why would we be like? Why would he react to me pushing him and driving him to be better? You know what I'm saying? That's the guy that he's speaking about to me. That's what I heard. That's the
I
guy
didn't see
that
it
I
that way.
hear.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? But that's his personality. That's who he is. That's why he's taking the easier route. He's going to take the easier route in different points in his life and different things. I think that's the guy that's like, you know what I mean, that is going to be dependent more, you know what I mean, on the woman to me. You know what I mean? That's a personality thing. So if you took that easier route, that's what you do in life. You know what I mean? That's not on a woman. That's who he is.
I think I agree with you. But there's another guy who takes what he can get because he can't get any higher. He only can get who's being consistent, right? So maybe he always wanted that girl to push him, or you know what I'm saying, that more motivated girl, that more educated girl, whatever. But all he could get at the time is the one who has an A in what did he say? Just showing up every day. What is that?
Perfect attendance.
Perfect attendance. Like maybe the perfect attendance girl is all he can get. You know what I'm saying? So I agree. There's those guys, but then there's the other guys that's all you can get is perfect attendance, man, and it just is what it is.
See, I
What
was
you about to
looking at
say?
that video in a different way because, and I was looking at it from a standpoint of, like a successful dude who you know what I mean, who's got all his ducks in a row, he got everything he want, and the last thing he needs is just a aggravation, and he just has somebody who's willing to jump on board and just jump in wherever he needs her to be, and she's just super consistent in there all the time, and she doesn't add any problems or any hindrance to her life. Like that's the lens that I was looking at it from. Is like somebody who is already setting their way, already got their stuff going on, and don't really need any any of that extra stuff. But this person who's consistent in their life allows them to take their stuff to the next level without without the extra drama. So I mean, that's the lens that I was looking at it from. But I mean, I can see it going the other way, like Hit said, and somebody who is less driven and just kind of needs somebody in their life that's consistent just to keep them afloat. So I can see it that way too. But I'm definitely not looking at it in that lens at all.
I think you're mixing ideas between me and Hit, because I said the last part you said as far as just somebody that's being there just to be consistent. Hit was saying definitely a less driven guy, but I guess there's three guys that will probably fall for that. There's a guy who has their ducks in a row and just doesn't want anything, any feedback, that no desire to really get anything from a woman, or he's just opted out. And there's a guy who can't get that driven ultimate woman or whatever, and he settles for um the person that just always shows up when they call. And then there's the guy that Hit says, generally the guys over 6 foot who are just lazy.
This goes back to where you stand is determined by where you sit. Because there was 4 different viewpoints of this, and we all watched the same video, so that's interesting to me.
Yeah. So I mean, for the last topic though, or the last kind of 2 rounded out. Why aren't marriages lasting? What's going on with the divorce rate? You know what I'm saying, being so high, and what do y'all think is determining separations?
Well, I guess it's my go in the rotation. Don't try to jump the line, Hit. No, I think that's crazy. But I think social media is a big proponent in relationships. I think in relationships, success and failure. I think more so failure, because people are trying to keep up with the Joneses, and they're always women are always looking at the social media as a gauge for their relationship and how they should be going, and they look at other people's, I don't want to say lives, but they look at other people's posts because they're only posting moments of their lives, and they're only posting the best moments most of the time, and they're looking at those as a gauge for how their relationship could go. Like, oh well, I'm better than that B right there, so I should at least have blah 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 blah. And if they ain't getting that, then that puts a hindrance on a relationship. But then I also think that right now, just the whole scope and landscape of television shows and reality TV shows and just everything is just so me focused. It's it's like I gotta have what I want all the time, or then or this isn't gonna work. And I don't think marriage, relationships, friendships, I don't think any ship works like that. I think ships are built on on teamwork. Everybody got to know their position, everybody got to know their role, and everybody got to be able to play when called upon. And I think right now, when it gets, everybody loves it when it's the honeymoon, and we're going out all the time, and we're dating, and it's just so fun, and it's so new, and oh, I love you, and butterflies. And then when it gets real, and now you got to have those real conversations, or life hits you, or there's a death in the family, or most recently what I've had in a couple people is in marriages, they had a kid pass away. And it's hard to come back from when you have a kid pass away. Like, how do you, how do you come back from that piece? You know what I mean? Like, that's a hole that you can't really refill no matter what. So, you know what I mean? There's a lot of different reasons why, relationships aren't successful right now. But it's not really like, that's not an agenda that's being pushed. Like, healthy marriages, healthy relationships is not being pushed in the mass media, and the mass media is what's being pushed down everybody's throats so much and so often. And then also, a lot of people are getting married because their parents weren't married, or they never had anybody in their life that was married. So they're trying to break these generational curses, but they don't have the tools because they've never seen a successful marriage. They don't know what that looks like. They never been around it, and they've never had anybody coach them or teach them how to be in a successful marriage, or how to be a husband, or how to be a wife. So when you're you're in these situations and you're walking in blind, you're going to bump your head. You're going to walk into the wall. You know what I mean? You might even fall through a pothole. So those are a lot of the reasons why, you know, marriages are not successful nowadays. But, you know, hopefully we can, you know, we can move that into a positive light and at least give people some ideas on what it looks like and what it means to be married or what it means to be committed. And maybe more people will start moving in that direction and seeing the positives in it.
Hey, Pastor Scales was spitting hot fire there. Woo.
Oh, wait, I have a hit. I was like, wait, did he just say? Wait a minute. He's going nuts. What's up, Mo? What you good? Tough follow.
I follow that. Golly. What he said. So that's for sure. All of what he said is very, very much true and valid. I'm coming at it from a different lens. And my take on it is that it's less about survival now. That's the difference. Like, they don't need you to survive. Like 2 generations ago, if granddad put your grandma, where's she gonna go? Like, she couldn't live without him. So I think the lack of necessity for survival, once that was taken away with, you know, kind of the whole feminist movement and them being able to live and autonomously and independent, that kind of took away the need for it, specifically in our community. Like, I mean, because we were never really in the Black community, we were never really holding our women down, but they actually have the ability to make what we make, maybe even more potentially. They don't have the need to stick it out anymore. So at the first hint of trouble and the first hint of this is becoming to be too stressful, too much drama, they can easily just walk away and still walk away unscathed, or at least in some cases better off, just based off kind of the laws. So with that being said, man, I think that's the biggest reason why they don't last, is because, well, actually there's 2 reasons. One is there's not a necessity for it, and 2, they're kind of incentivized to do so.
That was so social media. For somebody not to be on social media, that was sure enough a social media answer.
Oh yeah, also.
I mean, everything you just said is it's kind of the same rhetoric that's out there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, see, yeah, I wouldn't know, but yeah. I mean, I lived it. You know, it's my life. So,
what's up, Hit?
Yeah, I think it touches on a few shows that we had in the past, man. That, you know, that generational smoke. You know, where we talked about a lot of things that was missed and wasn't handed down. I mean, that's a big portion of it, man. You know what I mean? There was a big gap in people who was getting, as I said, getting married at 18 and being with each other till they was 90. You know what I'm saying? And there was that gap where, you know what I mean, everybody was shacking up, you know what I mean, having them early or leaving them, you know what I'm saying, having them and leaving them. And it left a big void, you know what I mean? And we get this idea, like we go to social media and we go to the movies in Hollywood to get this idea of how does the marriage look like? Because like Lee said, you know what I mean, we missed out, you know what I mean, on that. We seen grandma on them, but then after that, so what examples did we really have? You know what I mean? And that also took that person, like this really who we go to for the information. You know what I'm saying? Who do we talk to? You talking to the same people who's in the cancel culture. You know what I'm saying, right? You talk about social media. This is the cancel culture. So the same people that you're trying to, you know what I mean, that you got to go to get the information from, is giving you terrible information. You know what I mean? It's always like, leave them. You can always get another one, but you really can't. You know what I mean? And you don't realize that till 2, 3 down the line when your body count's getting all high. You know what I'm saying? You done wasted all this time going back and forth with this person and realize that your value didn't slip. And you know what I mean? Now you said, now you settling for the perfect attendance. You know what I'm saying? Like, or somebody who really don't fit what you want, but you just don't want to be alone. You know what I mean? Because you got some bad advice from somebody else who's alone too. So I think, you know what I'm saying? Like that, having that generational thing where we had grandma who can go talk to that give you sound advice, that was telling you something from experience and what they knew. Not, you know what I'm saying, what is trendy and what's good to do. Like, you know what I'm saying, go cancel, get another one, girl. I'm telling you, da. It's not a lot of good dudes out here. It's not a lot of marriage. It's not a lot of marriage type of people, women and men. You know what I mean? So when you find something good, you gotta build, you gotta work. You know what I mean? That's the last part is like, people don't want to put in the work no more, man. They don't understand like a healthy relationship, a good relationship takes a lot of work. It just doesn't happen. A lot of work individually and collectively. You know what I mean? They think it's just supposed to be as soon as they get together, all this magic happens, and they don't want to put in no work.
So I think so. One thing about that, man, is we're kind of giving Perfect Attendance a bad rap. Like I remember, like as somebody who grew up in a house with, you know, a couple that was married for 50 years. In order to do it right, you have to show up. Showing up is 50% of life. Like, so obviously you have to give effort when you get there. But yeah, like that's important. Like, I think we're kind of poo-pooing it, but like Perfect Attendance is very important. Like, you can't, if you don't play, you can't win.
But
so that's important.
It's the very baseline of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you got perfect attendance, you don't miss any practices, you know what I'm saying? But if you don't get no yards when you get in the game, like, you know what I'm saying? If you never get in the game, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you show up, you know what I mean? But I mean, it's not a bad rap. It's just not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Attendance shouldn't be enough.
Yeah, like most of the
I get
time,
that it's not by itself.
but most people who got perfect attendance in school, right? A high percentage of them was on the honor roll because like you had to be there to perform, right? But then there's some people who just got there and they didn't perform. You know what I mean? And that's all they had was being perfect attendance. I think the perfect attendance and how I'm saying it is just somebody who, like you said, is just there. Like they're just there. They're always there. They're consistently there. But I don't think they're adding anything else but being there. I think the older people they had perfect attendance and they were high honor roll. You know what I'm saying? They did all the little things. You know what I'm saying? They keep that family driving.
Because they had to.
Yeah, some people have perfect attendance just for that free meal. You know what I mean? Because they got free lunch every day. I think I think the difference is, and I don't know if we were poo-pooing it. We were just saying that perfect attendance alone wasn't it. And I think that's what he was saying. He was saying that perfect attendance, but they weren't emotionally attached. Like they didn't have any feelings. But if you got perfect attendance and there's feelings there, I mean that's quality right there. You know what I mean? That's
but
quality.
I mean, sometimes I think the issue is you'll fall for somebody just because they have perfect attendance, but it's just because nobody else is around. You know what I mean? Like,
you just don't want to be lonely,
and you just don't want to be lonely.
That person's available. They're available, and you're not. And you know what I mean? So you're just gonna take.
You know, even though you don't like her, you just don't want to be at the crib by yourself. Like you don't even like her.
That's what I'm saying though. But that's what I'm saying though. It's the love there, because if the love is there, and she's there all the time. She got perfect attendance.
I think over time you grow to love everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I mean, if somebody's there, and it's just there,
Stockholm syndrome.
Listen, you start to love your oppressor.
I mean, it's a thing though, right? But I mean, over time, like time builds love. You know what I'm saying? It might not be the in love thing that we're talking about, but it grows some emotions just from being around, seeing somebody every day. It's a part of your routine at that point. You know what I mean? Like just to not see them, it'll kind of break a routine that you got used to. Like, dang, the house is empty. Like I don't even like that person, but it's better than them not being here. Like, you know what I mean? Even though you really want more, but they have to vacate the situation for you to even,
in order for someone else to sit in that chair,
and for what you want to sit in the chair. You know what I'm saying? But if you're so afraid of being alone that you tell them to stay in a chair, then you know what I mean? You're not allowing yourself to really get to true happiness.
So I think that's real. And one of the things that I think about, and this is just me, and we talk about this all the time, Vic, like I get tired of like you being there all the time. Like, I'm like, you're getting on my nerves. Like, so with that being said, like, I don't know if everybody gets that, but like that could potentially be an issue too. So,
but that's the thing. Think about this though, right? What if that person doesn't make a noise, doesn't make a peep? Like they're basically a silent, like you don't hear them, you don't see them. They're in the chair. You know what I mean? So they never get on your nerves. You're not getting done what you need to do, but they never get on your nerves and they're sitting in that chair. Then what?
So now think about this, and all y'all can probably relate to this. If you don't want to be with somebody, no matter what they do, it gets on your nerves. So like you breathing, you breathe too loud, like the way you breathe, you smack when you chew. Like, so if you don't want to be with somebody, just that familiarity and that comfort eventually becomes contempt. But But yeah, but to your point, like somebody just kind of playing it safe or whatever, no, they can definitely lull you to sleep. I definitely can agree with that.
I kind of want to end there, man. Like I said, only 30 minutes more. We
Yeah,
almost
man.
went 2
Because
hours.
I mean, I don't even hold y'all for an hour, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh man, sheesh. Last question: is single life better than married life? Quick answer, and we done.
Yes.
Depends on where you at. Yeah, depends on where you at. You know what I mean? Where you
For a
at in
point in
life?
time, yes. And
How
then
long have you been single?
look, come see me. Look, man, I had about an 8-year run. Come see me. You're gonna get
What
tired
my
of me.
man told me, how many years I got left, son? I got to still do the math on that, dog. I got.
You got about 8 left, dog.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, I see you 8. I
Put in
see.
a good 8 and then come see me. And then I'm gonna tell you, like, yeah, you know, you're gonna have a couple experiences. You be like,
Nah. Well, no. I guess according to the numbers, man, you probably got about good 3 or 4. You already slipping out of it. I can see it now. Look how tired you
I
are.
see it in your eyes.
Yeah, I can see it. Like
Yeah.
you already slipping out of it, dog. Like
Yo, listen, man. Let me tell you something, man. I'm about to do my beats right now, son, and I'm right back. I'm right back on this thing, man. Look, at this age, you got to prep. It's all about preparation. You know what I'm saying? It's all about preparation. But to answer the question, man, I said I never had an issue with married life until it became something that wasn't happy for me. You know what I'm saying? So until it started working for me. The idea of it was great. You know what I'm saying? What I seen it, how it helped me, you know what I mean, do certain things was great. With my kids, it had structure. That was great. But when it started taking away from me as an individual, as a person, then I mean, that's when I prefer single life. So if I have a situation where being married will provide all those things that I'm looking for, then that would be, you know what I mean, the best option for me at that point. So I think it's more like it's not if you prefer either or, it's just like what situation is better. Like what situation can you make work better for you?
I think we can end on that. And that's another prototype that. And we out.
8 years, son. As long as I still got hair, man, I'm out. I'm going for it, dog. When the hairline recedes, then that's when I'm gonna go ahead and crash out.
Man, I ain't had hair since I was 20 years old. My hair been going for 20 years now. It ain't never coming back. But hey, man.
Yo, man. Hey, Lee, go get some Gatorade, nigga.
I'm about to go get another drink, man. It ran over my drink.